Success doesn't happen in giant leaps. It happens in tiny steps taken day after day that accumulate into massive achievements. Just as a mighty oak doesn't spring up overnight, but grows from a tiny acorn through countless days of small progress, your success story is being written right now in the small decisions you make every single day. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to achieve remarkable success while others, equally talented, equally educated, remain stuck in the same place year after year? What's the difference between these two groups? I'll tell you, it's not talent. It's not luck. It's not even intelligence. The difference lies in their understanding and application of the compound effect. Think about this for a moment. If you were given a choice between taking $3 million in cash right now or a single penny that doubles in value every day for 31 days, which would you choose? Most people would grab the $3 million without a second thought. But those who understand the compound effect know better. That single penny, doubled every day, would grow to over $10 million by day 31. That's the power of compounding. Now, I'm not here to give you a mathematics lesson. I'm here to show you how this same principle applies to every aspect of your life. Your habits, your decisions, your daily actions, they're all compounds that are either working for you or against you right now as I speak. Consider this. If you improve yourself just 1% each day, you'll be 37 times better by the end of the year. That's not 365% better. That's 3,700% better because of the compound effect. But here's the catch. This principle works both ways. Every small negative habit, every tiny procrastination, every minor excuse compounds over time to create failure just as certainly as positive actions compound to create success. Let me share a story with you. Years ago, I knew two salesmen who started at the same company on the same day. They had similar backgrounds, similar education, and similar potential. But after 5 years, one was making 5 times as much as the other. What made the difference? The successful salesman made just 2 more calls each day than his colleague. 2 calls. That's all. But over 5 years, those 2 extra calls compounded into hundreds more contacts, dozens more sales, and exponentially higher commissions. You see, success is not about making radical changes or giant leaps. It's about small, consistent actions performed day after day. It's about the choices you make when nobody's watching. It's about what you do in those quiet moments when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when you don't feel like pushing forward. As we look toward 2025, I want you to understand something crucial. The future you're creating is already in motion. The small decisions you're making today are like seeds being planted in the garden of your future. Every time you choose to read instead of watching television, every time you choose to save instead of spend, every time you choose to practice instead of procrastinate, you're planting seeds that will grow into the forest of your success. But here's what most people don't understand about the compound effect. It's invisible in the beginning. You won't see results immediately. This is why so many people give up too soon. They start a new habit, maintain it for a few weeks, see no results, and quit just before the compound effect was about to kick in. Think about building muscle. When you start exercising, you don't see results after the first workout or even after the first week. But something is happening beneath the surface. Your body is adapting, changing, preparing for growth. Then, suddenly, after weeks of consistent effort, the changes become visible. This is how the compound effect works in every area of life. The same principle applies to your career, your relationships, your financial future, and your personal development. Every book you read, every skill you practice, every relationship you nurture, every dollar you save, they're all subject to the compound effect. Let me give you another example. Suppose you have 2 people starting identical jobs with identical salaries. One spends his evenings watching television, while the other spends just 1 hour each evening reading books about his industry, developing new skills, and learning about personal development. After 1 year, there might be a small difference in their performance. After 5 years, the difference will be substantial. After 10 years, they'll be living in completely different worlds. The reader will have consumed over 3,650 hours of valuable information, developed countless new skills, and expanded his understanding exponentially. The television watcher will have consumed 3,650 hours of entertainment that left him exactly where he started. This is the compound effect in action. But here's what's truly fascinating about this principle. It works invisibly, silently, consistently, whether you believe in it or not. Just as gravity doesn't care whether you believe in it, the compound effect continues working in your life, for better or worse, regardless of your awareness of it. As we approach 2025, I want you to think about the small habits that are currently compounding in your life. Are you reading regularly? Are you exercising consistently? Are you saving and investing systematically? Are you nurturing your important relationships daily? These small actions might seem insignificant in the moment, but they're creating your future with mathematical certainty. Consider your morning routine. The person who wakes up 30 minutes earlier each day to read, plan, or exercise gets an extra 182.5 hours per year of personal development time. That's over 4 full work weeks of extra growth compared to someone who sleeps that extra 30 minutes. Multiply that over 5 years, and you're looking at over 912 hours of additional personal development time. Now, let's talk about the power of small wins. Every major achievement in human history has been built on a foundation of small victories. The Wright brothers didn't suddenly invent a fully functioning airplane. They made small improvements day after day, year after year. Thomas Edison didn't create the light bulb in one brilliant flash of inspiration. He made thousands of small adjustments, learning from each failure until he finally succeeded. Your journey to success will follow the same pattern. Each small win builds your confidence. Each tiny victory reinforces your belief in yourself. Each minor achievement creates momentum that makes the next achievement easier to reach. But let me tell you something crucial about these small wins. They require something that most people aren't willing to give: consistency. You see, consistency is the bridge between small actions and remarkable results. It's not enough to take action occasionally when you feel inspired or motivated. The real power lies in taking action consistently, especially when you don't feel like it. Let me share a profound truth with you. Success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. And who you become is the result of the small decisions you make every single day. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, growth over stagnation, action over procrastination, you're becoming the kind of person who deserves success. Consider this: if you save just $5 a day and invest it wisely, in 30 years you'll have accumulated a fortune that most people would consider impossible on such a small daily commitment. But here's what's fascinating: it's not the $5 that makes the difference. It's the habit of consistent saving and investing that transforms your financial future. The same principle applies to your health. 1 extra glass of water each day, 1 less sugary snack, 10 minutes of exercise. These small changes might seem insignificant in the moment, but compound them over months and years, and they create dramatic transformations in your health and vitality. I want you to understand something that most people never grasp: time is going to pass anyway. The next 5 years will unfold whether you take action or not. The question is, where do you want to be when those 5 years have passed? What compound effect do you want working in your favor? You see, while others are waiting for the perfect moment to start, waiting for conditions to be just right, waiting for their big break, successful people are taking small actions every day. They understand that conditions will never be perfect, that the perfect moment is a myth, that the only moment they can control is right now. Let me tell you about a study that was conducted with 2 groups of people who wanted to make significant changes in their lives. The first group waited for the right moment to start, when they had more time, more money, more support. The second group started immediately, taking tiny steps toward their goals. After 1 year, guess which group had achieved more? You already know the answer. The second group despite their imperfect circumstances, despite their small steps, had made significant progress while the first group was still waiting for the perfect moment. This brings us to another crucial aspect of the compound effect, the power of tracking. What gets measured gets improved. When you track your small actions, you make them visible. You bring them into your consciousness. You create accountability with yourself. Imagine you're trying to lose weight. If you reduce your daily calorie intake by just 125 calories, that's one small cookie, and burn an extra 125 calories through exercise, that's about a 15-minute walk. You'll create a 250-calorie daily deficit. That might seem insignificant, but over a year, that small daily change would result in a 26-pound weight loss. This is the compound effect in action. But here's what's truly remarkable about tracking. It reveals patterns you wouldn't otherwise notice. When you track your spending, you see where your money really goes. When you track your time, you discover where your hours are actually spent. When you track your habits, you understand what's really driving your results. Now, let me address something that might be troubling some of you. You might be thinking, but I've tried making changes before, and they didn't stick. Well, let me tell you why. Most people approach change with an all-or-nothing mentality. They try to change everything at once, become overwhelmed, and then give up entirely. The compound effect works differently. It's not about massive change. It's about small, sustainable changes that you can maintain consistently over time. Instead of trying to read a book a day, read 10 pages. Instead of trying to exercise for 2 hours, start with 10 minutes. Instead of trying to save half your income, start with 1%. You see, when you make your changes small enough, they become sustainable. When they're sustainable, they become consistent. When they're consistent, the compound effect takes over, and that's when the magic happens. Think about bamboo for a moment. For the first 4 years of its growth, you see nothing above ground. Nothing. But during that time, it's building an elaborate root system underground. Then, in the 5th year, it suddenly shoots up 90 feet in just 6 weeks. Most people would have given up during those first 4 years, thinking nothing was happening. But those who understand the compound effect know better. Your success will follow a similar pattern. You'll take small actions consistently day after day, and for a while, you might not see any visible results. But beneath the surface, you're building something powerful. You're creating habits, developing skills, establishing patterns that will eventually lead to breakthrough success. Let me tell you about momentum, another crucial aspect of the compound effect. Every positive action you take creates positive momentum. Every small win builds upon the previous one. Every tiny success makes the next success more likely. This is why the hardest part of any journey is getting started. Once you're in motion, physics works in your favor. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. But here's the key: you have to start. You have to take that first small step. You have to make that first tiny change. You have to plant that first seed. As we look toward 2025, I want you to understand that your future is not determined by grand, sweeping gestures. It's determined by the small decisions you make every single day. Every time you choose to learn instead of vegetate, to save instead of spend frivolously, to create instead of consume, you're setting the compound effect in motion. But here's something crucial you need to understand about these small decisions. They don't feel significant in the moment. Eating one healthy meal doesn't make you healthy. Saving $1 doesn't make you wealthy. Reading one page doesn't make you educated. But these small actions compounded over time create dramatic results. Let me share something profound with you about human potential. The average person has between 60,000 and 70,000 thoughts per day. What's remarkable is that 95% of those thoughts are the same ones they had yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that. This means that your life today is largely the result of thoughts and decisions you made in the past, compounded over time. Now, imagine if you could change just 1% of those thoughts. That's about 600 thoughts per day. What if you replaced negative thoughts with positive ones, limiting beliefs with empowering ones, excuses with solutions? This small shift, compounded over time, would completely transform your life. You see, most people dramatically overestimate what they can accomplish in a day, but they drastically underestimate what they can accomplish in a year through small, consistent actions. They want instant results, immediate gratification, overnight success. But that's not how lasting success is created. Let me tell you about water. At 211 degrees Fahrenheit, water is hot. At 212 degrees, it boils, creating steam that can power a locomotive. That 1 degree makes the difference between hot water and a powerful force that can drive massive change. The same principle applies to your daily actions. That one extra effort, that one additional step, that one more attempt, it might be the degree that changes everything. Consider this: if you improve your skills by just 1% each week, a goal so small it seems almost insignificant, you'll be 52% better by the end of the year. That's a tremendous improvement from tiny, manageable changes. But most people never see this improvement because they're looking for immediate, dramatic results. Let me share a secret about success that few people understand. Success leaves clues. When you study successful people across any field, you'll notice they share common habits and behaviors. They're not necessarily more talented or more intelligent than others. They've simply mastered the art of making small, positive decisions consistently over time. Take reading, for example. The average person reads less than 2 books per year. But successful people across all industries read an average of 2 books per month. That's not an overwhelming number. It's just 1 book every 2 weeks. But compound over 10 years, and you're looking at 240 books versus 20 books. The difference in knowledge, insight, and wisdom is staggering. Now, let's talk about something that holds many people back: the fear of failure. Most people are so afraid of failing that they never start. But here's what they don't understand: failure itself is subject to the compound effect. Every failure teaches you something. Every setback provides valuable information. Every mistake moves you closer to success if you learn from it. Thomas Edison once said that he hadn't failed 10,000 times when trying to invent the light bulb. He had successfully found 10,000 ways that wouldn't work. Each failure was actually a small win that moved him closer to his ultimate success. This is the compound effect of learning from failure. Let me tell you about the power of habits. Your life today is essentially the sum of your habits. How in shape or out of shape you are, a result of your habits. How happy or unhappy you are, a result of your habits. How successful or unsuccessful you are, a result of your habits. What you repeatedly do ultimately forms the person you become. But here's the fascinating thing about habits: they follow a compound pattern. Making a new habit is like rolling a snowball down a hill. At first it requires effort and conscious thought. But as the habit grows, it gains momentum. Eventually, it becomes easier to maintain the habit than to break it. Consider this: every habit you have today was at one point a single decision. You didn't become a smoker by smoking 1 cigarette. You didn't become overweight by eating 1 unhealthy meal. You didn't become successful by making 1 good decision. It was the repetition of these decisions, compounded over time, that created your current reality. The good news is that this same principle works in reverse. You don't have to make dramatic changes to transform your life. You just need to make slightly better decisions, consistently over time. The compound effect will take care of the rest. Let me share something powerful about decision-making. Every decision you make has long-term implications that aren't immediately visible. When you choose to watch TV instead of reading, you're not just choosing how to spend that hour. You're choosing what kind of person you're becoming. You're choosing what kind of life you're creating. Think about it this way: every time you make a decision, you're not just deciding what to do at that moment. You're deciding who you're becoming as a person. Each decision is like a vote for the type of person you wish to be. The compound effect ensures that these votes accumulate over time to create your future self. Now, let me address something that might be troubling some of you, the idea that it's too late to start. Let me tell you something. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. It's never too late to set the compound effect in motion in your favor. Consider this. If you're 45 years old, you probably have another 40 years ahead of you. Think about what you could accomplish in those years through small, consistent actions. Even if you're 65, you likely have 20 years ahead. The compound effect doesn't care about your age. It only cares about your consistency. Let me tell you about the power of environment. Your environment, the people you spend time with, the information you consume, the places you frequent, is constantly influencing your thoughts and decisions. Small changes in your environment, compounded over time, can create massive changes in your life. Consider your personal associations. If you spend time with 4 optimistic, goal-oriented people, you'll likely become the 5th. If you spend time with 4 successful entrepreneurs, you'll likely become the 5th. The influence of your associations compounds over time, shaping your thinking, your beliefs, and ultimately your actions. Let me share something profound about success that most people never realize. Success is not a destination, it's a process. It's not something you achieve once and then stop. It's a continuous journey of small improvements, tiny victories, and consistent progress. The compound effect ensures that as long as you keep moving forward, even in small steps, you're growing stronger, becoming better, moving closer to your goals. Think about your bank account for a moment. Every dollar you save isn't just a dollar, it's a soldier working for you, recruiting other dollars through interest and investment returns. The same principle applies to your knowledge, your skills, your relationships. Everything you invest in grows and multiplies over time through the power of compounding. Now let me tell you about the importance of patience in this process. In today's world of instant gratification, patience has become a rare and valuable virtue. But the compound effect teaches us that the most valuable rewards in life require patience. Just as a farmer must wait for their crops to grow, you must allow time for your small, consistent actions to bear fruit. Consider the Chinese bamboo tree again. For 5 years, it grows underground, developing a root system strong enough to support its eventual growth. Then, in the 6th year, it grows 90 feet in just 6 weeks. Which year was the most important? All of them were equally important. Without any one of those years of underground growth, the bamboo wouldn't have the foundation to support its dramatic upward growth. Your success will follow a similar pattern. You'll have periods where you're building foundations, developing systems, creating habits, and seeing little visible progress. But if you understand the compound effect, you'll know that this groundwork is essential for your eventual breakthrough. Let me share something crucial about motivation. Many people wait to feel motivated before taking action. But successful people understand that action precedes motivation. Small actions taken consistently create momentum. Momentum creates motivation. Motivation leads to more action. This is the compound effect in action. Think about exercise. The hardest part is often just getting to the gym. But once you're there, once you start moving, motivation follows. The same principle applies to any goal you're pursuing. Don't wait for motivation, take action, even small action, and let the compound effect work in your favor. Now, let me address something that holds many people back, the need for perfection. Perfection is the enemy of progress. The compound effect doesn't require perfect action, it requires consistent action. It's better to take imperfect action consistently than to wait for perfect conditions that never arrive. Consider this. If you're 99% perfect in your efforts but inconsistent, you'll achieve far less than someone who's 70% perfect but completely consistent. The compound effect rewards consistency over perfection every time. Let me tell you about the power of small course corrections. When an airplane flies from Los Angeles to New York, it's off course 99% of the time. But through small, constant adjustments, it reaches its destination. Your journey to success works the same way. You don't need to be perfectly on course all the time. You just need to make small corrections consistently. Think about your daily choices like compound interest on your future. Every small decision either adds to or subtracts from your eventual success. The coffee you buy every morning, the extra hour you spend watching TV, the decision to skip exercise, these aren't just isolated choices. They're investments in your future self, for better or worse. Now let me share something powerful about goal setting. Most people set goals that are too big and too vague. They want to get rich or get in shape or be successful. But the compound effect works best with specific, measurable actions that you can perform consistently. Instead of saying, "I want to get rich," decide to save $100 each week. Instead of saying, "I want to get in shape," commit to 10 minutes of exercise each day. Instead of saying, "I want to be successful," choose one skill to practice for 30 minutes daily. These specific actions, compounded over time, will create the results you desire. Let me tell you about the power of identity. The most powerful changes happen when you change not just your actions, but your self-image. You don't just try to save money, become a saver. Don't just try to exercise, become an athlete. Don't just try to learn, become a lifelong learner. These identity shifts combined with small, consistent actions create lasting change through the compound effect. As we approach 2025, I want you to understand something crucial. The future you desire is created by the choices you make today. Every small decision, every tiny action, every minor habit is either moving you toward or away from your goals. The compound effect ensures that nothing is neutral, everything counts. Remember this, success is not about intensity, it's about consistency. It's not about making radical changes, it's about making small improvements consistently. It's not about perfect action, it's about consistent action. The compound effect will take care of the rest. In closing, let me leave you with this thought. Right now, at this very moment, you're standing at a crossroads. The choices you make today, tomorrow, and in the coming weeks will compound to create your future. The habits you form, the decisions you make, the actions you take, they're all setting the compound effect in motion. You don't have to make dramatic changes. You don't have to turn your life upside down. You just need to make slightly better choices consistently day after day. Trust in the process. Trust in the compound effect. Take those small steps forward and keep taking them no matter what. The future belongs to those who understand and harness the power of the compound effect. Will you be one of them? The choice, as always, is yours. Thank you and good evening.